Hey everyone, Leo with the Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our spooky Halloween Cascade card. Now I have all of my pieces cut out, as should you, and we are going to begin with some simple paper piecing. As you can see here, this is the front of the card, the main caption, I guess you can call it, and we simply need to take this smaller layer and glue it to the shadow layer. So go ahead and do that. Now, as you can see, I've taken some time after getting everything cut out to ink these pieces. I think that's one of the really fun aspects of crafting for Halloween is you can really go to town with the inks. So we want to get that nice and centered on this section here. I'm going to grab my brayer and press that down. You can see how nice that looks, all distressed. Okay, so next we're going to take the word boo. And you'll notice that there are some little markers on my, it's kind of like a turquoise bluish piece there that we just put down. And those markers are to help you with the placement of this piece here. So we're going to use those to our advantage, obviously, so that we can get everything nice and spot on. Okay, and I'm going to hold this in one hand here. Yep, there we go. Just like that. Okay, there we go. And then we have a cool little ghost here. It's 2 layers. There's actually another ghost that's similar to this one, and we're actually going to use that for the envelope. But grab this piece here, and similar to what I did with the skeleton from this bundle, or jointed skeleton, I took, and since this guy is a white glitter, I inked them with a little bit of a lime green, just to kind of make him look like maybe he's been flying through some ooze or something. Okay, we'll get those 2 layers on top of it. We'll get this layer on top of the other one. Flatten that down a bit. And we're actually going to take and use a little foam square on this to elevate this and add some dimension. Okay, so, and that's going to go, as you guessed it, it's going to go right on top of the little silhouette of the ghost. Okay, just like that. So that piece is ready. We do have a little haunted house that we need to put together. It's just a few little pieces here. I'm going to start with the purple part of the house. The yellow part that you see behind this is just the shadow layer. It's going to give it a nice little, almost like a neon yellowish shadow around the whole thing. So work your glue around the whole piece here. I actually inked this with a little bit of black, which I don't get to do often, but again, good old Halloween. And just make sure that's nice and centered. Now I do have some red pieces there, and you know what? I did not ink those, so I'm just going to hit that with a little bit of ink. I think the red will work actually. I should probably go with a darker red. Since these 2 colors are kind of the same, it's unlikely that that's going to show up. So you always want to kind of go maybe a tone darker if you really want it to show. And I'm just going to hit the very edges of this just to kind of roughen it up a little bit. Since everything else has something going on, whether it be glitter or inking or embossing, like we did on the little pumpkin. Let's see, where's this guy at? Yep, so this door is shaped like a little coffin. That's kind of a cool little touch. And we do have some little markers right on the front there to help you with the placement. So let's get that in place. And then we have this little, it's a little window at the top of the haunted house. And I'm going to hit that with a little ink too, just to roughen it up a bit. Okay. It's barely visible, but kind of makes it all more a little consistent. Okay, and pop that into place. Now we're going to use this later on. There's really nothing that we need to like pop dot or anything. So we'll just put that off to the side. And then finally, as far as this pre-prep stuff goes, we're going to put together our little moon. So this is the layer that we want. Got 2 yellow layers. I inked this one. That's the top layer, this is the middle layer, this is the back layer. So let's get our glue on this section here. Okay, and then throw a little bit of glue up there by the witch. And I'm going to use my fingers to spread that glue out nice and even in those little sections. And that's just to thicken this up mostly. Okay, make sure you get that witch's head and the tip of her broomstick nice and aligned. Press that down. Okay, and then we're going to take this layer, and that's going on next. So let's get that on there. And go easy with the glue here because we've got a few little cutouts where the glue may seep out and we don't want to blemish our project. So if you did get too much glue towards the edge of any of these sections, just kind of hit them with your finger, tack it up a little bit to prevent any of that glue from seeping out. Now I'm using the witch's head and the broomstick as my initial guide for placement, and the rest of it just kind of magically will fall into place when we do that. Okay, so press that down, and then we have this witch, the full witch. I'm going to use a series of little dots and then use my finger to kind of spread that out a little bit more and make it a little more uniform and prevent any of that glue from seeping out and blemishing this layer here. Okay, and you can see where that goes. You just want to follow the head and the tip of the broomstick for the placement on that. And if there's a little bit of yellow that you see behind it, and that's totally fine. Actually kind of adds to the magic a little bit. Okay, so that's that for these three pieces. Now, we've got these two large sections. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, so we've got this section. Okay, and this is going to get glued down flat here. We're trying to keep an even border around the whole thing except for the eyes and the mouth of the tree. Those are going to be kind of, there's not going to be a border on both sides, just on like half of it. Okay, so we just need to get this stuff glued down. Okay, so this one's going to go here. This is texture here. This is not texture. This is the solid side. Okay, so let's get this glued down. And I'm going to start down here where we have less details. I'll try to make sure that I get to the edge here. And then I'll start working on the little detail sections as well. This is glitter and it's thicker, so I'm not as worried about laying the glue on heavy because it's not likely to warp the paper. And I might be going a little heavy with the glue here, but again, I'm going to use my finger to kind of dab that and thin it out in those areas so it doesn't come spilling out. Now, the color combination that we chose here will probably hide any little imperfections, but you know, even if the glue spills out, you're not going to notice it too much. Okay, so get that glued down. And make sure you've got it lined up properly. You don't want to obstruct the little slits there. Okay, I was a little bit off on my placement, but that's fine. It's still gonna look great. Here we go. Grab my blade, and again, you wanna make sure that you can fold this over. Do not encroach over this space here. Okay, get that down. Now, we wanna close this, and that's where we're gonna put this section. Okay, and again, a nice even border all the way around. So let's flip this over and begin applying our glue. Okay, and then we're just going to repeat the same thing on the other side, basically. It's basically a mirror image of itself. You got the same elements on both sides. Okay, so, and again, if you have any areas where you maybe got a little too much glue, just kind of dab it with your finger and get that stuff off of there so it doesn't come squeezing out. Get that lined up nicely, nice even, in my case, orange border all the way around. And press that down. Now the only thing different about this section is that we have a little light post here, or a little lamp, and we've got these little orange cutouts that we're actually going to glue inside of the cutout, just so that it looks a little different. And it should snap in there like a little puzzle piece, just like that. And then there's one little thin one as well that goes right next to it. Just make sure you grab the right one. And I'm literally just putting a little dot of glue, a couple little dots of glue on there, and just popping it in. There we go. Now, we actually made this card fairly large. You can definitely shrink it down if you'd like. It's totally up to you. But again, I'm going to grab the other half of this now, and you can start on the front. It's not a problem. So you want to fold it this way. This is the texture here. This is the solid, or the smooth side. Oops. And just going to get our glue on here. And try to cover as many of the little details as you can. Don't go crazy about it. And again, I'm going to use my fingers to spread that glue around a little bit more, especially in these little detailed areas, like right here on the lamp. Just kind of hit it with my finger, thin it out a little bit. That's perfect. Okay, and get that nice and lined up. Nice even border all the way around on this section here. And press that down into place. And then just like the other side, we have this little cutout for the lamp. Just throw a few little dots of glue on that, pop it in there. Like I said, should fit like a little puzzle piece. There we go, and the tiny guy here. Oh boy, way too much glue on there. And pop that right in. Okay. All right, so let's open this up and we'll just put our last section in place here. We've got a lot of surface area to cover here, so try to work quickly with this first little application of the main section, and then we'll hit the little details. Just kind of doing like an upward stroke. Get that little tree. I'm not worried about being super accurate with this right now. Just trying to move quickly, and then just hit that with my finger to thin it out if you feel like you've got too much in that area. And just pop that right into place, like so. And keep in mind that you want to make sure you're not obstructing that little slit there either. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm using my brayer to get everything to stick nicely. All right, good deal. Okay, so close that up. Now comes the fun part. So what we need to do is, first off, we're going to start with the back, and we're going to slip this through these two slits like that. Be careful not to bend anything. And we're going to fold these over. Where's that? That's the cutout. We're going to fold these over and slide these through. Just like that. Okay, so there is the cascade effect. Okay, you can see that. And now all that's left to do is attach our various elements here. Okay, so these three elements, this one's going to go down here. The house is going to go in the center, right over here. Okay, and then the moon's going to go back here. And now here's where you need to decide how permanent or how flexible you want to make this, depending on which tools you use. What I'm actually going to do, I don't do this often, but I'm going to use pop dots because they're a little more flexible. Okay, because when we open and close this, it would help for it to be a little flexible. So I'm going to take, and if you're using foam squares, that's fine too. I would not glue it though, however. I'm going to put one here, right about here. And then I'm going to put the other one right here. Okay, and then we're going to take this, we're going to open this up a little bit. And once we get those pieces in there, okay, so what we want to do is we want the house to be submerged a little bit. Let me just do this real quick, and I'll kind of show you where you want it. Take a look here. Make sure it's nice and aligned and right about there. Okay, so you can see, you could probably bring that down a little bit more, but again, with the foam squares, it's a little more malleable, or flexible, I should say, but that's roughly where we want that. We're going to take our boo, and our boo, I'm going to put one foam square right here. Sorry, pop dot. And the other one right here. And we're going to open this up just a little bit. Make sure it's straight. And we want the bottom of this to be basically right at the bottom of the card. We want the center point to be nice and centered on the card. Okay, so we want it like that. Should sit flat too. Okay, that looks great. And then finally, the moon. We're going to put some foam squares or some pop dots. Actually, with this one, yeah, I'm going to use foam squares again on that. And we want to put, I'm going to put 2 of them on there. And we roughly want them just very much at the bottom so that they're not visible. I'll put one here like that. Okay, and we want the witch's head to just be slightly above the tree line. I want to keep it nice and centered. And, oops, and right about there. Okay, there we go, look at that. And then it opens up so that you can actually display it on a table. Okay, but that is the final result there. And actually, you know what, we can, there we go. Just spread that open a little bit, and you can see how beautiful and dimensional that card is. So cool. Very, very cool. I'm very happy with how that turned out. Okay, but of course, we have a coordinating envelope to go with this. All right, and of course you want to make sure that you fold everything at the score marks here. These are the tabs that we're going to be using to join one more piece to this. Okay, and then we have a flap. The flap has some tabs on it as well. And I'm going to take and glue the flap to the top, the side that doesn't have any tabs. So go ahead and get your glue on the tab. Spread that out all the way to the very edge. I need a little more there. You just feel it. Okay, and let's get that lined up. What I usually do is just put this flat, line it up, make sure it's centered, and then just push that tab down. And flip this around. Make sure it's nice and flush with the top, and it is. And press that down. Okay, there we go. And we have this little piece here, we're going to put right here, and that's going to create this little sawtooth effect along the side. So what I do want to do, you don't want to put the glue on this piece, you're just going to focus the glue on the flap so we know exactly where it needs to go. Okay, so we'll just go like this, add a little bit around here, that little cutout there, looks like a carrot, it's actually a ghost's face. So I'm going to take this and just push it up against the fold, make sure it's centered, and then just bring that down. And that was a little bit off. There we go, just a quick little adjustment. Okay, and we have a little ghost. You just glue that right on there. I'm actually going to ink this with some more of that lime ink. I just didn't get around to it before the video, but that's okay. So now we're going to take this piece and we're going to glue or apply glue to this tab at the bottom. Okay, spread that out nice and even all the way to the very edge. And we'll take this piece and just get that lined up with that tab. Make sure it's centered and right out to the very edge of it. And press that down. Make sure it's Nice and centered, there we go. Fold that back over. It's a pretty big envelope. Like I said, we did kind of make this card oversized because it can kind of almost be like a little centerpiece too. And who wouldn't want to receive a cool card like this and actually display it in a major way? Okay, and you know what I'm going to do probably is I'm going to try to find some little LED lights to stick in between those layers just to kind of illuminate it. Okay, so I just put some glue on that tab there. I'm going to put glue on this tab, spread it out to the edge. I got to probably hurry up a little bit because that glue is probably starting to set. Okay, and then you just take this and press it down onto these tabs. Should pretty much line up exactly where it needs to go. And just keep pressing that down. Okay. So that's that, and that closes nicely. Keep pressing those sides there. Again, totally optional. Okay, so there's our card. There's our beautiful envelope. As you can see, it fits within the confines of the space inside there, so it's good to go. And again, take a look at the final result. Just kind of fan it out a little bit, spread it out. Beautiful, super dimensional card with your coordinating envelope. Don't forget to put your little ghost on there. So that's it, guys. That's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please take a moment and hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. And while you're there, hit the little bell so that you get notifications anytime we release a new product, whether it be paid or free. And if you make this or anything from our new bundle, I would love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Group, where you can join myself and the 30,000 plus other dreamers that inspire us daily. So hope you guys love this, and I'm sure your recipient will just adore this card. And as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.